Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to Jimmy Codger Racing and the first round of the Porsche Cup Series I've got running here. Shadow managed to stick it on pole during qualifying with a fast charging Danny C behind him. So the battle resumes. These two have always had really close racing between them. This season they've got full tuning available to them, so they've got all the suspension components, the downforce. They're only allowed to use racing mediums or racing hards. There's no mandatory tyre. But it's him all bunching up here, coming into Les Combes for the first time. Danny C had a challenge on Shadow there, but couldn't make it stick. But they're coming down a bit of a hill here, but Butler's managed to make a move on Danny C as he runs uncharacteristically wide there. So that's unfortunate for Danny, but Butler's got the bit between his teeth here, hunting down Shadow. So this is a real test, this corner, P1. As they come down here, you've just got to get the balance of the car right. Tip it in, get back on the throttle, and it's, yeah, the back end is pretty loose on this, depending on the setup you've got. But as you see, glowing gold in the background here, really hassling Butler here, and he's managed to get it done round the outside here, which put him on the inside for this next left-hander. So Butler won't be too happy with that. But then, as you can see now, Danny C has got back into the mix, closely followed by Bongo Man, David Wallbank, Pantalon. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you're not seeing things. That is myself on the grid. I've decided, seeing as though I've put these guys through hell with the tyre strategy and the fuel and the weather over the season of the touring cars, I've decided to get in and have some fun and practice what I preach, so to speak. So if they, I won't ask anybody to do anything that I won't do myself. So yeah, we'll see how that pans out. But I've been having great fun doing some testing, so we'll just run down through the grid. So we've got Butler in his Turtle Wax sponsored his livery there, so I'm sure he's had all the polishes out. It should be gleaming now, so he's got less air resistance. So he's closely followed by Bongo Man, who's a new guy to the community. He stood in the touring cars as a reserve driver, clearly had some pace there and was really putting the fast guys under pressure. So we're expecting decent things off him in this. Yeah, he's really got involved with the community, so it's great to see him on the grid. And then he's closely followed by David Wallbank in the classic Apple Computers livery. I'm not sure on the year of this livery, but it's definitely a classic. Another quick driver. He was an independent driver in the touring cars for season 5. And he was really, really quick. So yeah, that's another one to keep an eye on. And then closely followed behind him is Danny C, who needs no introduction. And it's lovely to see Danny on the grid taking part in a road car race. His speciality sort of group 1, 2, 3 and 4. And also, you won't see this very often. This is Danny C in a non-monster liveried vehicle. So yeah, he's fully got on board with the Club Sport level livery, and yeah, lovely to see. Go well out there tonight, Danny. And then, are you ready for this? The one and only. Here I am in a livery that took me quite a while to do, and I thought, I got really involved with it. And I'm being hounded by Joey J, who's another new name to the community from Future Champions Social Club, who does a little bit of driver training, sort of. This is in the game, so he runs a classroom series over at Future Champions Discord. So I'm sure I'm being judged here. He's got his pen and paper out, giving me scores. I've not had the... I'm sure he'll forward that to me and give his professional opinion of how I did. But I'm managing to hold him off up to now. He is a quick driver. But this is one of my favourite tracks, which is the main reason why I chose to race this, because I'm comfortable with it. So Yeah, so this is lap 3 done. So now we'll work through. We've got Pantalon UK, who's also another new driver to the community. Another quick driver by all accounts, and incredibly, he's been, well, I say out of action. He had a nasty injury to his ankle, and he was racing, I believe, with one leg. So he was braking and accelerating with the same leg. So I'm not sure. I did read somewhere that he'd been given the all clear from his doctor. So if he's back with 2 legs now, yeah, he's one to watch out because he is quick. But speaking of quick, we've got this man, Mr. CCR Wally DJ, a very, very good friend of mine. Actually created the community Discord for my server. A wealth of knowledge, and very, very quick. This is one of his, yeah, if you were to give Wally a choice with road cars, tuning, strategy, yeah, he's all over it. And he's an absolute master at fuel saving. He's very, you know, he's obviously clean, respectful, as we see Wally there, just getting on the power. This is what I was talking about before with P1. You've just got to be careful. But he's wonderfully skilled in the car control department, so he loves having fun in these cars. So I'm sure we'll see a lot more of that during this race. And as you can see in the background here, we've got Pantalon being hunted down by Ekberg. So they're all getting a little bit squirrely with these the back end on these cars. And speaking of Ekberg, here he is, the man himself, the mad Swede, who loves his Semler. And for those of you not aware what that is, it's basically one level above naughty and nice. So this is like a muffin, I believe, but filled with cream, whipped cream. And yeah, he was posting them all over Discord when there was it's called the Semler Festival or something. And apparently he had 5 of these. So yeah, he's dosed up on his sugar. But he's also our resident photographer, and yeah, he's an absolute genius with the camera. So we're privileged to have him in the community, and he provides us with excellent shots. And then we have my good friend Tyler from the United States. He's quite out of his comfort zone, and he won't be afraid to admit it, but he's taken to it nonetheless. He's joined in and decided, yeah, let's have a go, let's have some fun. So he's out there just giving it his all, and I believe he's got his own pit crew. So yeah, let's see how good his pit crew are and see what result Tyler can get. And then lastly but not least is good friend IRC Knock, also from the United States, running a stunning Falcon livery here. From back in the day. I'm not sure what year this was from, but it does really suit the car, and it looks absolutely stunning and gives a lot of colour to the grid. As we see, must have been a bit of an incident there in the background with Pantalon and Ekberg, but Ekberg has done what we expect here at JCR, and that's if you make contact with someone and either yourself go off the you get taken off the track, or you force someone else off the track, not intentionally, it could be just a mistake, it could be a genuine move. What we expect here at JCR is you pull over and give the place back, and that's what you saw there. So that's lovely to see. So we'll just work our way back to the top of the grid. As you see, Shadow is he's not managing to pull out a bit of a gap now. He's managing to keep it there, but they'll also be aware that obviously with the fuel usage, which is quite high here, they're going to have to manage the fuel, because this is a 50-minute race with a 2-minute 25 lap, so 2.5, so you're looking at probably 19-20 lap race. But this is one of the circuits that's got It's a really realistic pit lane, but it's one of the longest, with it being the 24-hour layout. And I'm sure we'll see that to good effect shortly when we see the first flurry of pit stops. But Butler's really getting on board here. Let's just go on quickly, go on board with Butler as he lines up Shadow coming up the Kemmel Straight, but Shadow's maintaining the inside line, which is the better line for the entry into Lecom. But Butler's managed to try and get the switch back, go round the outside. That's a lovely move by Butler, which gives him the inside coming out of here. But Shadow has managed to hold on to that lead. That's a great attempt by Butler here. Great racing shown by these two. But as we can see, Butler has got a rear view mirror full of glowing gold here. So it's, yeah, he's got the RAF bearing down on him. Red 1. I'm sure glowing. Yeah, that's what you refer to glowing as sometimes. Yeah, it's like the red arrows. As he's giving Butler the hurry up here. So Butler's going to have to get his act together. But he wants to maintain, he wants to try and keep in the slipstream of Shadow, because that'll make it harder for glowing. Because the two slipstreams will neutralise each other out. So, sorry about the view change, ladies and gentlemen, but that's the only way I can do it on this at the moment. So yeah, Butler's closed the gap there, but Bongo Man, as we can see in the background here, is really getting on the back of this battle now. So this is a four-way fight for first at the moment. So as long as they're keeping each other's slipstream, then yeah, they've got a great chance. But as we're looking at the fuel gauge here, I'm expecting maybe we'll see a pit stop here. I'm not sure. Yes, we're going to see what for glowing. So we'll stay on board with glowing as glowing comes into the pits. We'll just see what glowing chooses to do. You see the mechanics getting ready. Now, I'm not sure, looking at his tyres, I'm not sure if this is going to be a tyre stop or will he just change refuel. Because it will save time ultimately in the pit stop. But if you look at the clock counting down now, we're already on 15 seconds. And they've not reached the pit box yet. So that's 20 seconds. If you look at the clock at the bottom left hand corner of the screen, we're on 12 minutes 40 seconds. So we're already on 30 seconds, which is your average pit loss for a normal track. So let's just see when glowing gets in the pit box. 12 minutes 50 seconds. Okay, so this pit stop is quite long, but look at the view you got here from the pit garage looking out to the beautiful livery from Glowing Gold. Full RAF livery. Looks absolutely stunning. As we see, he hasn't changed his tyres. So total pit loss is round about 1 minute 10 seconds. So he's just approaching the bottom of the pit lane here where he can get to full speed. So there we are, 1 minute 5 seconds. That's a hefty chunk. But as we look at the sky as glowing exit the pits, that really does look threatening up there at the top of the Kemmel Straight. And we know what Spa can be like for weather. It's really realistic because it can be absolutely throwing it down coming up the Kemmel Straight here. But then when you get to Blanchimont, it could be dry or very light rain. So it's one thing to watch out for here. I've set the weather to random, mainly because I'm racing in it and I want to, well, we adopt a fair and clean discipline at Jimmy Codger Racing. And if I set the weather, then obviously I'm going to have an advantage because I know when the rain's going to cut in. So I decided to set it to random and enjoy the race so everybody's on the same playing field. And yeah, I've no idea what the weather's going to do either, so it makes it a bit more exciting. So we'll just come off Glowing Gold for a moment and we'll just go with this guy, Butler. So we see Butler has changed his tyres. So he's put a new set of racing mediums on. As we see the leader coming in from the pits, that's Shadow and Danny C, they're in the pits. So we've got Joey J having a great battle here with David Wallbank. So Joey's running the UPS livery. Really nice livery this is. So he's managing to hold off David here as they come through the S's and back out onto the back straight for the 6th time here. So we see David giving Joey a bit of the come on, bit of the hurry up, flashing the headlights. So he's desperately trying to get a move done here. So this is a brave move going around the outside at Blanchimont. They've got to have ultimate respect for this. But David he's gone wide in the process, so that could be a penalty for David. So that was a bit of a rush move, and especially, yeah, at that point of the track, there's no harm done. So as we see now, Joey's trying to come back into the Source hairpin, but around the outside here is not the best route. So it's looking like this battle is hotting up. So meanwhile, we'll just cut back to the top of the grid. We can see them just coming through Radion at the top of the hill there. So we've got Shadow GT, who has now pulled out a fair sized gap, but we all know what Glowing Gold is capable of. So we're just approaching quarter distance. Oh, sorry, third distance. So we're just gone past the 15-minute mark. So they've already had a tank of fuel. So I would imagine this could be. I'd be surprised if they can do this in a 2-stop. I'd be surprised. But the sky is definitely looking threatening, isn't it? It's the clouds are really. So you can see now the light has really faded. I see the mist rolling over the hills there in the background. Some lovely shots here at Spa. So, yeah, Shadow's managed to. Yeah, he told me about his setup, and when I first heard about it, I thought, yes, that should have a supermarket written on the back spoiler, aka, you know, a shopping trolley. But he's obviously managing to make it work. But Bongo's managing to keep on the back of these, which is very impressive. And we'll just come back down here. So we've got Bongo there just coming into the right-hander, approaching the back straight for the first time. So we'll just see where Butler is on track. He's not far behind them. So I'd say he's about, can you see? Yeah, I'd say about 2 or 3 seconds behind. But Butler will be just getting his head down. So yeah, we can see. Yeah, so that okay. So they're approaching. Yeah, they're not far at all. So yeah, you can see Butler in the background here as he's approaching the bus stop hairpin. So he's the chicane. So he's definitely got them in his sights. But it definitely looks misty over there. That does look threatening. But we've not seen any sign of rain yet. So let's just go back down the grid. So yeah, look at that. You can see from when the race started, it was really quite sunny. So we'll just go back down the grid. This field is spread out somewhat now, but I've got a feeling that'll change because everybody will be on different strategies. You'll get people that are just playing the long game and fuel saving, and then you get other people that sort of pedal to the metal, but they'll definitely need to fuel save, but they're all saving at different points. So let's just check down here with Danny C. New set of tyres, decent amount of fuel there. So he's just plodding along there. So he's in a bit of no man's land at the moment. He's got a gap to try and close to David. But Wally DJ has also found himself with quite a lot of free air now. So he's also on a new set of tyres. So I'd say about 50% of the grid have changed the tyres and 50% haven't. So will they suffer? And how much lap time will they drop? That's one thing to take into consideration here. As we see a battle developing here between Tyler and Joey. So Tyler's right on the hunt here, closely followed by, yes, you guessed it, myself. So I'm trying to get on the back of Tyler here. So Tyler's picked up a half a second penalty, which that's not going to help his cause. And the penalty line, but he's picked it up at that point, he will be serving it on this lap. And a half-second penalty turns into approximately a second. By the time you've lost all the speed, you've got to build the speed back up. As we see the indication on the screen here, that yellow line is... The driver will also see that, so it's a warning to them that they will be... it's not you don't have any intervention from yourself. It's the game automatically applies the brakes, as we see there. Slows your speed. So it's one of the worst places to have a penalty, because you just built right up to a high speed and then you lose all your speed. So Joey is now, that's given Joey a little bit of breathing space here, so that's created about a second gap. So yeah, you can see myself coming through here, and yeah, I was really enjoying just getting involved with these lads. I didn't expect to be competitive, to be honest, because I've not really raced for about a good 8-9 months, as it shows. Yeah, but it didn't really matter to me. It's the taking part that counts, and I was just expecting, if it didn't matter where I finished, I was just having fun racing with these guys. But I've managed to keep ahead of Knock and Pantalon UK, which is, yeah, that's a little bit of a feather in the cap for me. To be ahead of anybody is a bonus. So see Ekberg, he's definitely fuel saving here. So Ekberg, I didn't know. Okay, so Ekberg has gone on the intermediates. So maybe he thought the rain was coming in, but they do have. Unfortunately, we can't see it from the commentator's perspective. Yeah, I think he's realised now that the rain has decided not to make an appearance. Well, at the moment. So he's coming in to get rid of his intermediates. Maybe that was a bit of an early call for Ekberg. But as I was saying, in the bottom right corner of the screen that you can see where it says track map, the drivers have a weather radar, which they can zoom in on. And it brings up the weather cells almost like you see in a plane cockpit. And you can see it coming in, and you can reduce it to, I think it's something like, you can see it from zoom out, zoom in, so it does give them warning. So I'm surprised that he actually went on intermediates, because there was no it's not actually chucked down any rain at the moment, but as we can see, the blue skies are appearing again here, but that doesn't mean anything here at Spa. So at the moment, the fastest fastest lap in the race goes to Butler with a 2:25.9. That is rapid. So as we're looking at Bongo Man here, who's currently in the lead of the race with glowing gold hot on his heels. Now these are one of the guys that didn't change the tyres on the first stops, and now they're approaching the point where you will start to see the wear taking effect on the handling, and I expect corners like Pouon will be a little bit more challenging, especially the heavy braking zones, the one at the bottom of this hill that they're coming up to shortly. The next right-hander at the bottom of this hill, yeah, this takes quite a lot of grip. You've got to take it tight on the inside. So will we see any loss of grip? Now, glowing gold. Yeah, so they're definitely fuel saving. I'm not sure. As there we see a little bit of loss of grip. Now the tyres, these two have got very similar tyre wear and fuel. So will we see these two come into the pits? I'm not sure if they may have one more lap of fuel left. It all depends where Butler is on the track. So Butler is not far behind them at all. He's approximately 2 seconds behind them, but Butler has got the same amount of fuel but better tyres. Will we see these three come in at the same time? But we've got Shadow GT, who's keeping Butler on a leash, not letting him get away. So Shadow is in a very good position here because the three in front of him have got less fuel and Shadow has got slightly better tyres. I just want to go back up to the leader and just see what they choose to do here, whether they choose to stay out or whether they pit. The tyre wear is definitely taking an effect here. As we see the indicators coming on, that is absolutely fantastic to see. That's what happens in real life in these endurance races. They'll indicate to say they're coming in the pits. Absolutely brilliant racing from Glowing Gold and Bongo Man. It's such these little touches. I don't ask them to do it. I have done in the touring cars, depending on the circuit. For example, Barcelona, with the pit entry being so close to the final turn, I just stipulated that it's only fair to give the drivers warning. Now, as you see them coming down the pit lane, I'm expecting a full tyre change here and a full tank of fuel. But meanwhile, Danny C and Shadow, as I predicted, have chose to stay out with having more fuel. So Wally has also chose to stay out, and as we all know, he's got on fuel. So yet we see the car being lifted up here, tyres being changed. I'm expecting a straight swap for a new set of racing mediums, and let's see if they fill the tank. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, just have to blow my nose. Won't be a second. Do apologise for the brief interruption there. So we see, as we predicted, brand new set of mediums, full tank of fuel, and they've maintained a position. Look at this, still there, but Butler has now really closed the gap. So Butler came in at the same time. He chose not to change his tyres. He had better tyres. He's just come in for a fuel splash. But that has promoted Shadow up into the lead at the race at the moment with Danny C. I'm expecting Shadow and Danny to come in, possibly Wally at the end of this lap. I would have a look. We'll just go work through the grid. We'll see David. He's good with tyres and fuel, so he's obviously pitted. So yeah, it's reset now, so we're approaching the 30-minute mark and 11 laps in. These liveries do look fantastic, don't they? And there's a good close-up shot of the Falcon livery from Nock. So he's good for another lap or so, but Pantalon is really closing the gap now. So these two are very equal on tyres and fuel level. So Tyler is also, and as we see, Danny C has chosen to come into the pits, but Shadow has stayed out again. So I'm just going to go back to the top of the grid. Shadow's really got this. Yeah, he's making these tyres last a lot longer than a lot of the grid. So this is where Shadow needs a absolute flyer of a lap now. He's probably going to open the taps, but he's got to be careful. The fuel goes down very quickly at this track, mainly because they're going to have the downforce backed off slightly, mainly for the longer straights and the high speed. But we see Wally has also managed to stay out. Better tyres, albeit, and roughly the same amount of fuel as Shadow GT. And yes, I stayed out also. Incredibly, this is probably the only time you'll see me in third place live. So I was having great fun at this point, and I don't think I'd saved enough fuel. I needed to save a little bit more fuel, but I was following the master. I was basically, I had my own strategy in my head, but I thought, I've got the master right in front of me. Let's see if I can. I knew I'd never be able to keep up with him, but yeah, it's always fun to have Wally on the grid, and yeah, he's a real master when it comes to strategies. So enough of me on the screen. So we're going to just work our way back up to these two now. I'm expecting a pit stop from the top three now. Yeah, so Shadows, he's got his fuel light flashing. Well, yeah, he's only got 3 more corners to go. He's got Blanchimont, he's just going through here. Then he's got the slight kink there, up to the bus stop chicane. And peel off into the pits now. So this is a new tyres and full fuel for Shadow GT. I'm expecting the same from Wally DJ. So Bongo Man is now going to resume the lead of the race with Glowing Gold in second place. Sorry, my mistake, with Butler in second place. So Butler's really on the hunt now, so let's just go on board with Butler and see what he this is the gap that Butler's got. He knows he's in a good position at the moment. His tyres are slightly worse than Bongo Man's, but not by a lot. So this is going to promote Butler into second place. Then he's just got to maintain this his strategy. And yeah, sometimes your strategy can change depending on what happens in the race, as I sort of touched on earlier. So let's just watch these go through. Let's just watch them go through Eau Rouge. This is a real test for cars handling. Really high speed entry. It's just getting the car settled. And yeah, that's a penalty. That's really well done. That's a good example from Butler there. You can get a penalty on the top of the hill at Raidillon if you just take too much of the curb, but they've managed to keep it settled. So they've obviously been doing their homework and doing their practicing and keeping these, getting these setups dialed in. And I've provided them the season, the tracks for this series are round 1 obviously here at Spa, round 2 is Mount Panorama, Bathurst with the notorious mountain section, so they're going to have to do some work for the setups there, because that section is the key to the whole lap. Round 3 is St. Croix 3C, and round 4, the final, is going to be at Le Mans, which is going to be, that's going to be some sight to see. So if you're enjoying what you're seeing at the moment, then be sure to tune in as we see Glowing Gold. There we go. There's an example of the handling. So yeah, let's just see if I can get that from Glowing Gold as he comes through Pouhon here. Just manages to pick up the curb. Oh, he just loses it, but he's kept it out of the wall. So that's well held by Glowing Gold. So he's back into it, but he's lost a little bit of time to David behind him. So David will be rubbing his hands there. But Glowing is really struggling here. He's got dirty tyres. So yeah, he's lost quite a chunk of time there to David. So yeah, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, then be sure to tune in each Saturday now until the 23rd of May. Each round will be starting at 7:30 UK time. So yeah, feel free to tune in. Should be an epic final. But Bathurst I'm looking forward to. I don't think I'll be racing in that one, so it's going to be a live stream. Depends, I'll see if I can get a setup dialed in. And I can put my big boy pants on and manage to master the mountain section. I'll probably be like a snail down Conrod Straight, because I'll be putting all the effort to getting the mountain section nailed. So yeah, if I can do that, then I might do the same as I've done this week. But let's just go back to the race and just check in with the top guys here. We've got Bongo Man, as we can see the gap here. So the gap is probably about 2.5 seconds to himself and Butler, as we see Bongo Man go purple. So that indicates he's on a fast lap. So that's impressive at this stage of the race, but they do have just under half a tank of fuel. So it's all about keeping these cars. They're really good fun to drive, and it's what you'd call a true driver's car. It really demands precise inputs, and as we see Butler there come just taking some of the curb here, but we'll just watch them go through Pouhon here. It's all about it's a good example there of just brushing the curbs, not taking too much, and just keeping the throttle inputs nice and steady. So we're on lap 14 here, and we're just approaching 35 minutes have passed in the race. So with 15 minutes left to go, which equates to roughly 6 laps, give or take. We've got to have pit stops because I'm not sure this fuel's going to be sufficient. So there's the gap. We've got Butler in his lovely turtle wax livery. I'm really impressed by the liveries, and I know how much effort goes into these. I do all the liveries obviously for the touring cars, so it's a real joy to see the guys get involved and really taking it on board and creating some really fantastic liveries and replicating what you'd see. An example of the club sport level, I suppose. And yeah, it really does look great. So we'll just focus back on Shadow GT, who's got, looks in a really strong position here. Brand new tyres almost, with just under 3/4 of a tank of fuel. So he knows he's in a stronger position because they'll be keeping an eye on when each other pit. He knows he's probably got 3 lap newer tyres and fuel level than the guys in front of him. So yeah, he'll be fuel saving, knowing that they're going to be pitting before him. So we'll just quickly go back down the grid to David as he comes through Eau Rouge. Look at that, nice and steady through there. You've got to be careful, but they've had 15 chances to perfect it now. So I think it'd be rare to see a penalty, but you never know with the tyre wear. But so he's followed by Danny C, who's got glowing gold really hunting him down, as we can see in the background. So we see Danny's in a similar position to Butler, so Danny's in a pretty strong position too. Glowing gold just taken to the gravel there. He's opted to use the racing hards for this stint. So as we can see there from the camera shots, look at that, we've got an ominous cloud appearing there, but at the moment it's still a dry track. So I do like this livery from Glowing. Absolutely, yeah, it's a really, really, really nice livery. And just to give a bit more information on Glowing, he's been with the community from day one. Such a nice guy, met in real life. We had a community meetup at Silverstone, and we were walking around the paddock, and the armed forces always field a team for some of these races. And we were egging Glowing Gold on, saying, "God, you've got go and get your name down on the list. You get straight in. You're in the RAF." And he was a bit apprehensive. And at the end of the day, he bit the bullet and dived in and sort of put his name down. And incredibly, he's fulfilled his racing passion, and he's got his race license. And he raced in a race of remembrance last year, and every racer's sort of dream, so to speak. I know I'm speaking from personal experience. I was a racing driver, and the one track I would love to race is Silverstone, and Glowing Gold is going to fulfil that in about a week's time or 2 weeks' time, racing a BMW 1 Series for the Armed Forces around the Silverstone National Track. So good luck to you, Glowing, for that. And I might be going down to watch that. It's on a Saturday, I think it's the 16th, I'm not sure, could be wrong, I'll find out off Glowing. But as we see, a flurry of pit stops here. So Butler's coming in for a tyre change. This is gonna. We'll just focus on that. So maybe they got the guys coming out using the turtle wax to get all the red of the flies, bit less air resistance. So we'll see where this brings Butler. Butler was currently in 7th place, so let's just see where this brings him out now. He's made a place up. So Shadow GT, as predicted, has resumed the lead of the race, but he's closely followed by Danny C. So let's just work way down the grid. So I found myself in a bit of free air at the moment, but I've got a David Wallbank closing in on me. So this is where I'm fuel saving a little bit, because I know I've got to save some fuel. A 2-stop was on the cards, potentially, but look at the sky, look at the weather closing in here. But incredibly, it's done this 2 or 3 times. It's threatening. It's certainly threatening, but you can see the track, if I remember, it was sort of a little bit greasy. It was giving all the warning signs of a downpour. But as yet, we haven't seen any rain appear. As we see glowing in the background there, about 3 or 4 seconds behind these. So we'll just go quickly back. We'll go down as we see Tyler, who's right. So what you're seeing on screen there is a 3-second time penalty. That's caused by crossing over the white line on the pit exit, or potentially the entry. I'm not sure if you get it on the entry on this track, but you could definitely get it on the exit. So yeah, that's not going to. He'll be really annoyed with himself for getting that, because this is where he's going to serve the penalty, and you will see the effect this has. We'll stay on board with Tyler, and we'll just see exactly how much time he loses. Now, if you look, he's got Pantalon behind him, but look at the gap he's got. Now, this turns into a 4-second penalty by the time you've decelerated and managed to get the car back up to speed again. So it's just as he exits this next right-hander on the approach to Blanchimont. This is where the timing line is now, and this is where he'll be serving his penalty. Look at the dramatic speed loss. So look at that now. 2nd gear, 3rd. So we know Pantalon is going to be flat out in 4th, 5th gear. Look at that. So he's lost the gap, and he's now, the roles have reversed. So yeah, Tyler won't be too happy about that. So, and we got Knock here in 12th place, in a pretty comfortable position at the moment. Fuel wise, I'm not sure if he's got enough. We've got 7 minutes left, which is roughly 3 laps. So can he do it? We've got Ekberg here, who's gone back onto the racing mediums. He's got plenty of fuel. So he unfortunately has found himself a lap down, or is it Joey that's found himself a lap down? But we do have the flag rules in place here. So for lapped cars, they'll be shown the blue flag, which means they must get out of the way of a fast approaching car and not hinder them. So let's just go back to the top of the grid as we see Shadow GT coming in for a late dash. He may be, yeah. So he's just, this will just be a fuel stop. So I don't think you will see him changing the tyres purely for time save. Danny C also comes into the pits behind him. So are we going to see a flurry of pit stops here? Now, this is the one to watch out on. Wally. Wally is renowned for being kind to his tyres, kind on the accelerator pedal. When I say kind, I mean he's very, very good at fuel saving. I'll be surprised if Wally comes in. Now, what as I predicted, yeah, Wally's staying out. So can Wally do this? If he can make this work, then he's going to have to fuel save like crazy to get this round for another What have we got here? We've got 5.5 minutes. That's 2 laps. Can he do it? That's one to focus on. But Joey has stayed out also. But we see Ekberg will potentially unlap himself here, because we know Ekberg's got plenty of fuel, won't be fuel saving. So Shadow has come out the pits with just a short splash of fuel. So now this is full charge. So he knows he's in a really good position here, because he knows that if Wally and Joey have stayed out, that they are very close on fuel. So they will be fuel saving. So Shadow's taking the gamble, knowing full well that they'll be fuel saving, so he can afford now to get the hammer down and basically just go for it now. He's got nothing to lose at all. He knows he's going to be quicker than the cars in front of him, but he's got some back markers coming up ahead of him now in the form of Ekberg, and he can see Wally. He can see Wally right ahead of him there, so he knows how quick he's closing the gap here. So he's got Ekberg to clear, and then it's a full-on hunt down for Wally and Joey. So we know that Shadow's in the prime spot here, but Bongo Man is also in the same position as Shadow, so he doesn't have to fuel save at all. So we see Shadow giving Ekberg the flash of the lights here to signify get out the way, I'm coming through. So I expect Ekberg to move over here, coming onto the back. There we go, another flash of the lights from Shadow. He's getting a little bit impatient now. Ekberg should be moving out of the way. So we'll stay on board with Shadow as he closes up on Joey, who decides he's not going to make it and goes into the pits. So Shadow has managed to he's reclaimed the lead of the race. So now it's a straight duel between these two. So this is Bongo Man versus Shadow GT. Wally is in 3rd place, but he's having to nurse this car around now. So we can see by the timer in the bottom left hand corner of your screen, we have just over 2.5 minutes remaining of this race. So that's 1 lap. So can Wally do this? So Wally has only stopped twice, so that's incredible. I knew that if anybody could do a 2-stop, this is your man. And it's not always the fastest strategy, but he's made it work. But he's got a fast charging Butler who's got plenty of fuel, plenty of tyres. He has got a half-second penalty. However, Butler knows Wally is now going to be, trying to save as much fuel as he can, so he's got all this work to do now. But can Butler close this gap? Coming up to now, we're approaching 49 minutes, so this could be potentially... they might get another lap, I'm not 100% certain, but you can see there, Wally is only just ahead, so Butler's got him in his sights. So we're just going to go back up to 2nd place now and see what the gap is between 2nd and 1st. So Shadow has just got his head down. He's really executed this strategy well. He's pulled out a huge gap now over Bongo Man, so that is really impressive. So Shadow's just got to... We're approaching the 50-minute mark now, so this could well be his final lap. So we'll just stay on board with Shadow as he comes through the back straight for the last time, at Blanchimont. Keep it together, just keep it nice and tidy on the exit. So Shadow is going to get another lap. So we've got 50 seconds left. So this is giving... So let's just go back down and make sure. Let's see who gets another lap. So Bongo is also going to get another lap. Wally is going to get another lap. But this is going to be very, very close on fuel. And look how much Butler's closed it right up to Wally DJ as we see him going for a move here into La Source hairpin, getting the move done. That's a brilliant move by Butler. So great respect shown by these two. So can Butler make any more headway? So looking at the grid at the moment, this is your top three. We have Shadow in first place, Bongo Man second, Butler third, Wally fourth. We'll just go back down the grid and just see if any more battles are developing. So the grid is quite spread out at the moment, but with the Danny C, can he close on David in the dying moments? But we've got Glowing Gold with Danny in his sights. But as he comes through, Rouge and Radion, well held Glowing, absolutely brilliant. So Joe Ekberg and Joey, they've finished now. The time has run down, so we're seeing them come across the line here. So unfortunately, Knox picked up a penalty in the dying moments. So we'll just stay on the board with this man here. This is Shadow GT and his Flying Fox's livery. A Flying Lizard, I do apologise. As he's coming through the S's here, coming down towards the right-hander here, leading onto the back straight for the final time. Just keep it together. I'm just going to stay on board with Shadow. He's just got to make sure he just keeps everything together, not be too violent with the inputs. So he's cruising through here now, just making sure. So Blanchimont for the final time. He's got literally three corners to go. He's got a little kink here, then he's got the bus stop chicane. He's got a decent gap behind him. Keep it together as he's rounding the bus stop chicane for the final time, as we see Shadow take the win here for Jimmy Codger Racing's Porsche Cup Series round 1 at Spa-Francorchamps, followed by Bongo Man, who's flashing his lights there, signify what a great race by these. We see Butler coming over the line in third place. So we've got Wally DJ. Eventually, can he keep fourth place? It's going to be a photo finish with Danny C taking fifth place. Eventually did get the move done on David. Seventh for Glowing Gold, eighth for Joey. We got ninth for Tyler, 10th for myself, and there's the rest of the results. So what a